what is it like to have never met your biological grandparents and never have really met them in person, not even know their names, not even know where they live, who they were, what their story was, what kind of beings were they, where did they live, what was their culture like, what language did they speak, what was their faith, their beliefs, what was their lifestyle like, how did they behave, how did they cope with challenges, with issues, with problems, and yeah, how did they what kind of dreams did they have, what kind of desires did they have, what kind of needs did they have, how did they perceive reality, how did they come to understand what this whole really is, what kind of relationship did they have with the nature, with the elements, with God, with Allah, with all of that bullshit, what kind of relationship did they have with themselves, and how is all of that encoded in our genetics, right, in our blood, basically. Because after all, your parents came from your grandparents came from your grand-grandparents, not the beings, not the self, just the body, just the physical body that's made of just the DNA puzzle, right? Just the sacred seed fluid passed on down to different generations. And you gotta understand that the sacred seed fluid contains all of your ancestors' spiritual memory, emotional memory, mental memory, physical memory of how the kind of changes, the kind of challenges that your ancestors went through, and also their financial memory, what kind of relationship they had with money, whether they were poor, rich, doesn't matter, and their architect memories, what kind of things did they get to build in their lifetimes, what kind of things did they architect, basically the lifestyle and everything around them, and their creation memory, the kind of relationship they have with the Mother Nature, with the whole of creation itself, and their transcendence memory, how did they transcend themselves in different stages of their life and all of that, and also their collective source memory, their relationship with source, the archangels and all of that shit, and also their archangel memories, well, their relationship with archangels, the elementals, the elements of nature like water throne, fire throne, air throne, sand throne apparently, all these different elements, and also their guardian warrior memories, like what kind of a warrior were they, how did they protect themselves, and back in the days, when they were living in caves and shit like that, how did they protect themselves against the tigers, the lions, the cheetahs, the panthers and all of that shit, how did they protect themselves against the crocodiles, the snakes, the serpents and all of that. Look at this serpent thing on this arm there. How did they protect themselves against the what kind of memories did they have, like their ascended master memories, right? What kind of an ascended master were they? And also their Al-013 memories, right? Their memories with the whole of creation, the relationship with the whole of the universe, as well as their self-memory, like the actual self, the being that they were. All of that is encoded, encrypted, and coded, whatever that it means, inside their DNA. It's in their sacred seed fluid that is then passed on from the father to the mother, and then the mother provides kind of like the container, right? The sacred container within which the seed can bloom into something like this, right? Like a little plant, like a little tree and shit like that. But what is this thing that is holding this up? Well, that is the whole universal cosmic infinitum singularity. That is, like, think of it as like Mother Buddha or Mother Nature or Prakriti, the transcendental absolute source creator, the mother of all, like the absolute source, like the Holy Ghost, or the thing that is virgin, that has never had sex. In a sense, is just a pure quintessential immaculate energy, because it is the source of energy, it is the source of consciousness, it is the source of telepathy, it is the source of awareness, and all of that. I've just climbed up in this tree, and it's fascinating because as I was climbing up, this tree is very unusual because the branches are going side and left and right, and it's also interconnected, so interwoven, that it is just this whole tree, all these different branches of it is just one branch. Whereas those other trees that you see on those places and those ones, the typical tree that you see, it's not like this. And I'll go down and show you what that is like, because this tree is very unusual, like royal, right? And I've just climbed up on top of it. I typically climb on trees just to get a higher perspective of reality. It's a symbolic thing as well, but also try to understand how the ancestors lived like. And also it doesn't matter which country you're born or what culture or group you belong, we all share the same ancestor. Like, we all came from one source, right? From one mother, but it came down in a few different colors, like the colors of the rainbow, right? So think of it like this: from one source came like 12 rainbows of that color, or 12 civilizations, like 12 mother civilizations, right? One of them was apparently like Lemuria or Mu, Atlantis, and some of them were in different, like ancient Aryan, ancient India and all of that. That is one mother civilization. But then we have mother civilizations in Andromeda, we have mother civilizations in Sirius, in Orion, in the Leo galaxy, in I don't know what else we got, in all these different galaxies across the world, across the whole universe. Well, they are our ancestors too, and their memory is within us. It's not so much of like a physical memory, because we share the physical memory from the ancestors of the humans, right? That the physical memory belongs to Arya, is from Mother Earth. But the other ancestral memory is more like the spiritual stuff, and energetic memory and all of that comes from the source, from the firmament, from the different galaxies and different planets. And I want you to really observe this tree, right? Look at this. Do you see how those branches are going left and right, and that is interwoven with that, that is interwoven with that, and it's twisting and turning, and it's just fascinating. So yeah, this guy has never met his grandparents, at least not in this lifetime. I don't even know their names, I don't know their stories, I don't even know the story of my father, the biological father and mother. I don't know what kind of challenges they went through, I don't know what kind of problems they had and all of that, because they never really talked about it, they never shared it in their later years. They were pretty quiet and reserved and silent and all of that. But their memory is still within me, and apparently it's been triggered and activated in different parts of my journey. And so it doesn't matter if you're like my biological parents, they've passed away a long time ago, right? So has like the grandparents and shit like that. But their memory is alive within me. It's talking through me. It's wisdom. Their collective wisdom flows through me. They're not even from this lifetime, but the ones from before, from Karbala, from Egypt, from probably Atlantis, probably Lemuria, and definitely ancient Aryan India, because I was there apparently, maybe. God knows that shit. So yeah, and really, if you go a bit further, like, how does that make this guy feel? Like, how does that make Anwar feel? Well, even though it knows it is connected to all of them, even though it knows it is one with all of them, but because it hasn't met them in person, the grandparents and all of that, it has this resistance to know them, right? It has this resistance towards them, and you can see it's getting a bit emotional and tears are coming, because unknowingly, unconsciously, subconsciously and consciously, and even super consciously, it has been kind of like going against them, kind of becoming their antithesis, and it hurts them, right? And some of them has been intentional, some of them has been unintentional, but fuck them, right? Yeah, and I was up there in the tree and I wanted to do this video, and I felt this resistance towards it, and I was like, why is that? And I just paused for a minute and played some tune, Rick Ross, I'm a Boss and all that shit, and just changed the energy. And as I was climbing up this tree, I noticed how strange, how bizarre this thing is, and it kind of like showed how strange and bizarre this dude really is. So yeah, that's a little bit of some story about this one. And you can see how this tree is like, just the branches and all of that is just so interwoven, and it's going there, it's going there, it's going down, it's going up. It's just like a goofball. It's just a very strange being. So yeah, that's how it feels like. You know, you feel this void within you, this bottomless pit that it doesn't matter how hard you try to distract yourself, you must go in there and actually go through it and come from the other side and see and really realize that the people we call our ancestors, that is actually kind of the future, because the past is both the past, the present, and the future, and the now. And the people that are expected ones, so like the future ones, well, they are our ancient future or past ancestors. Like, you know, that's why this guy has been obsessed in a sense with like Kalki Avatar, Shah Bahram, Zoroaster, or the Messiah, Al-Mahdi, and Maitreya Buddha, and all these other expected ones, and all these future or prophesized beings, because in its own unique way it has been trying to understand the ancestors. Of course, I've been watching a lot of like documentaries, a lot of videos about ancient civilizations. I've been studying Atlantis, Lemuria, Egypt, and all of that. And unknowingly, I have been obsessed with understanding both the future ancestors and the past ancestors, while being in the present moment and not really being too attached to any of them. And I was up there and I was like, why do I have, or why does Roel have this carefree attitude of why does it not give a fuck about knowing its own parents, its own biological parents and ancestors? And it dawned on me, and I was like, because it has no desire, it has no attachment to know them, it has no desire or attachment to get to, and I spend all its energy and focus and all of that trying to figure out who they were or what kind of person they were. Because the more I've come to understand myself, the more I've come to understand my own nature, my own beingness and all that shit, the more I've come to understand all the ancestors, really. The common pattern, the common link that links all of us as one family, right? And you can see how that branch is like, there is like twisting, and that is going there, and that, oh, fuck's sake. And that branch is coming there and it's going there. And you can see there's some twists and turns there. And you can, this is what it is. Like, every civilization is connected with every other civilization. And they're always trying to play hide and seek with each other. And when you know the common pattern, when you know the underlying pattern, the unity, the oneness, then you stop chasing them, you stop looking for your ancestors or the future ones, and you realize that all of them are inside of you, their memory, their collective memory, their collective awareness, their collective intelligence, and they're guiding you from inside and outside and left and right, and it's all twisted and kind of like intertwined together, and it's all so beautiful. And I just noticed that tree there has a really beautiful, pink, right? Apparently the color pink is the color of transcendence. The color burgundy red is like royal's color, right? And the color turquoise blue is Anwar's color. And the reason that is because when Anwar's mother passed away, biological mother, there was this turquoise ring that she had, and I was wearing for a while. So unknowingly, I was keeping the memory of my parents alive with the different colors, the different symbolic objects within my sphere of awareness. Like I have the color turquoise blue in the Transcendence Academy branding, on all my branding, on all my tools and everything, because that color reminds me of the ancestors from the mother perspective, right? The mother Buddha side. And then the color red reminds me of that, right? Like his name is Rasul, so my mother's name is actually Amina, Amina, probably has a H at the end of it. So the color burgundy red was unconsciously and subconsciously I associated that with like my biological father. So even though unknowingly I've been keeping their memory, their awareness, their intelligence alive with me from the beginning, in this lifetime, and all the other ones from different parents and all of that. But then this color pink is just my personal color, right? It's just the color of happiness, the color of being khushhal. Khushhal just basically means happy being, right? Just a happy, cheerful being, just laughing all the time for no reason most of the time, because time does not exist. And it's also like the color of pink is like a neutral color, isn't it? It's kind of like the color of, I don't know, absolute neutrality probably. And then the ultraviolet, indigo purple, is the color of Prakriti, the Transcendental Absolute Source Creator. And then of course it's pretty obvious that Mother Nature herself, or Arya, has picked up the color of green as its own primary color, right? So that's another way, like really watch and observe and study what kind of colors are you using in your life, what do they mean, what do those colors taste like, what do they smell like, what is their names, what kind of a being is a pink color, what kind of a being is a blue color, what kind of a being is a red color, what kind of a being is a green color, what kind of a being is a purple color, what kind of a being is the ultraviolet color, what kind of being is the what else do you have, yellow color, what kind of a being is the orange color. Really just ask these kind of questions, because they will reveal a lot about your own ancestors, the future ones, the past ones, the present ones, and it will reveal a lot about your own purpose here, really, your own, and it will reveal a lot about the impact you came here to make, because the more you realize that stuff, the more you will realize that you have already been making so much impact on the world and in the whole universe. But if you really want to feel fulfilled, if you really want to feel happy, you must open your eye and look at the impact that you're making, look at the feedback and look at the messages, look at the signals, look at the signs, and realize that you have already been making the biggest impact, the biggest thing by just being here, just your mere presence here. It doesn't matter your level of awareness, your level of consciousness, or all that shit. Your mere presence here is the biggest gift and blessing anybody could ask for, because through your being, the memory of all your ancestors, all your own family line, all of that is being kept alive. And I remember I had this dream vision with my biological dad, Rasul, and we were in this room, and he was just lying down, and he was asking for water, right? And I just got this glass of water from the machine, and I was like, and he was like, he was asking something along the lines like, who do you love most? And then I was like, that will change. Because I've been overly attached or obsessed with my biological mother, Amina, and I've been giving her more attention and noticing her more than my father. So, he was getting probably a bit jealous and saying, hey, why do you love her more than me? What's the issue here? Can you love me a bit more? Like, okay, that will change. And then I had this other dream vision. I saw that, and then he was saying that the universe awakened itself, and then Babaji was a little bit further behind him in his usual deathless meditation pose. So, and then before that, in early 2021, I had a dream vision with my mother, and she has never really said anything in the dream visions, but that was really the first time she said the word, and she just looked me straight in the eye and said Babaji. And then I had this other dream vision with Dad, and oh, look at that thing. See that little thing there flying? And Babaji was behind there. That's kind of like they're telling me that everything is connected, but my presence here in this specific lifetime is for a very transcendental, for a very clandestine purpose, right? Like, it's even hidden from me. Like, most of the time I don't even know what I'm doing, honestly. Like, the contents and everything that I'm posting, the ritualistic stuff that I do, it's all beyond me, beyond my limited mortal comprehension. It's all just so mystical, so magical. The things I do are so bizarre, so different, that nobody in the history of the universe has done or is doing the things that I'm doing, specifically in this lifetime on Earth. Like, who goes around doing things like this? So they can clear the throat, right? And speak clearly. Or who goes around doing this? Meow, meow. Or what about this? Not much people do that, right? But the reason world does that is because it's the animal kingdom, the animal ancestors expressing themselves through it, because it has realized its unity with all the animal kingdom, and it is allowing them to express themselves through it. I just killed a little bug there, right? The one that was just on my hand. I just see the mark there, just scratch it like that. This thing just went to heaven probably. And the same thing, like, I'm always interacting with nature and putting flowers there. And the other day was these other videos, you will notice that I had this crown made with like flowers and plants. It's just giving voice to these cuties, right? To these trees and all of that. Like, it's no coincidence for me to be up here in this tree and showing how weird and strange and bizarre this tree is, because in a sense this is a being. It has called me here, so we can talk about and all of this, and kind of show symbolically that the shit that all the ancestors have been going is all twisted and mixed, and everything is so intertwined that so many shit happened. So much happened. This civilization attacked that civilization, or that empire attacked that one and invaded their country and all of that. I'll just give you example of Afghanistan, because I've come from there, or this body has been made there, and Afghanistan has been attacked by the British. They've been attacked by Russia. They have been invaded so many times, but those motherfuckers, it doesn't matter. They call it the graveyard of the empires, right? Like, it doesn't matter how hard you motherfuckers try to invade Afghanistan and all of that. It doesn't work, because the being that Afghanistan is, it's a warrior. It is the warrior, right? Has a very scary heart. It's a very scary being, and because that is the collective awareness of the people living there, like the Hazaras, the Uzbeks, the Pashto, the Tajik, and all these other, the Sikh people. They are not going to accept oppression. It doesn't matter. Apparently that country has been in war for the past 40 years. Like, imagine the amount of suffering that's been happening there. But the thing is, like, when one country suffers, the rest of the world suffers, because we are just one planet, right? So the sooner you motherfuckers stop fighting and killing each other, the sooner you all will be living in a more magical and more happy place, more happy lives, right? You're gonna have more freedom to innovate, to create, and to really just architect, design, and create absolutely all brand new realities. Because it's like this trunk, right? You can never cut this trunk by trying to cut this. If you keep cutting this, if you keep attacking different countries, different civilizations, and all of that, you go cause war in different, I don't know, in Africa, in Iran, in Saudi Arabia. They're pretty peaceful actually. Palestine and Syria, and this whole bullshit war between Islams and Jewish and all this. Come on, just let that stuff go, people. Stop doing your political wars in the name of religions and spirituality and all that shit. If you really have the balls, just announce your political war and say, hey, this country and that country are fighting because of political reasons. Don't sugarcoat it and say it's because of religion. Don't push your propaganda with that kind of shit, because it pisses the spiritual realm off, right? So you cannot affect this trunk by trying to cut all of this, because if you cut that arm, another one grows. You hurt that generation, they die, the next generation comes. Well, the next time they come, they're gonna be fucking you in a different way, metaphysically, and that is worse than coming and physically attacking a country and all of that, because you can fuck people, you can cause them more harm metaphysically than by physically. You know, the physical body suffers a little bit, that's meaningless. But the real war happens inside of you, because every country that suffers, every person that suffers, you're feeling the suffering inside of you, in your unconscious, in your subconscious mind, heart, and being. And that is what it means to be unity. That is what it means to be one being. Because the idea of oneness, if you say that, oh, that person or that country is like, it has a different religion, or they have a different color, different culture, different language, or let's hurt them, let's oppress them, then you don't know what it means to be unity. You don't know what it means to be oneness. Because by definition, oneness is realizing that this whole universe is just one being that is alive, that is breathing, that is talking. When Mother Earth has all these volcanoes and all this stuff erupts, she is farting. She's letting go. And when all this thunders and everything, lightning, she's roaring, right? Like this. Slightly magnified. When all these rains are dropping and drizzling, and she's like doing this, meow. And when these trees are like, the branches are shaking and there's this subtle breeze around, she's like saying meow. Maria, the being herself, right? It's like that. You cut that arm, well, that's okay. This is connected here and it's connected there, it goes there. And from time to time, Aurea, or Mother Nature, or the universe, intentionally will cut off certain civilizations, right? They will cut off certain kingdoms, certain empires, and that's why certain empires rise and they fall, because they fulfill their need, right? They fulfill their thing. Like the example of Genghis Khan, that guy from Mongolia who pretty much fucked most of the world, right? He just went around causing so much killing and suffering and all of that shit. But that's a mercenary, that's a warrior coming and fulfilling, making a contribution and breaking the barriers between different cultures, different religions. But you gotta understand that those eras have long gone. We have reached that level where everything is mixed and mashed so much, where there's no longer a need for this thing that you motherfuckers call jihad and killing other people in the name of religion, all that bullshit. So let that stuff go. How long do you want to keep causing suffering? Because you can never hurt another being before you hurt yourself. You will feel the hurt, the pain and suffering first before they feel anything. Because before you actually go there and commit and plan it and architect it and design it and go in there and take an action, in that process you will suffer more before they even suffer. But when you suffer, they're already suffering it. But when you actually take the action and commit to whatever you're doing, then that the suffering multiplies by 1,000, but it gets magnified and magnifies, where you're suffering, they're suffering, and their neighbors are suffering, and the whole country is suffering, and the whole continent is suffering, and all of a sudden the whole world is in pain and misery, and the collective awareness of humanity is suffering, and Mother Earth is suffering, and Mother Nature is suffering, and that's how like this whole solar system starts suffering, all these other planets, and that's how this whole galaxy starts suffering, the Milky Way, and then the neighbor galaxy suffers, and that's how the whole universe suffers. But we got to reverse it, right? Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Oh, just two birds just came right there. Because when we reverse it, we realize the oneness, the unity, and we understand that the pain and suffering and misery and all of that shit is part of the experience, right? It's just there. We cannot deny it. It's part of the experience. So we just integrate that. We turn upside down, we realize unity. And now that branch, this thing here that I just cut off, is part of it. It's integrated, right? Look, it's integrated. It even has a little white thing on its scalp, like peace. Now this thing looks even more beautiful. It has 4 branches, more solid, more strong, right? And now that you have given your own suffering, your own pain to bloom, you have given it opportunity to bloom into something. Maybe it will bloom into flowers, and it will be used as fuel for all these other strengths and beauty within you. If you just look at this as an example, think of this one branch as all the unbalanced bad habits and bad character traits and shit like that, basically, just for the sake of like, for you to understand the nature of reality. It's not dual, it actually has 0 to 13 aspects to it, like the rainbow. Then when you look at that, you incorporate, you integrate all of your own dark nature and all of that, and you realize that it's just part of your own beauty. You realize that you have more beauty, more magnificence, more love, more compassion, more wisdom than your 5% bullshit within you. Like your own darkest nature, your own pain and suffering is less than 5-10% inside of you. But when it's upside down, when it's like the other way around, then what happens is, for people, they're living their life, they put this crown on top of their suffering, on top of their misery. They wear it with pride, with their honor. They're going around and sharing their story and being prideful and saying how, really just boasting how much they have been suffering, or how much they have been judging other people, or how much they've been causing suffering, all of that shit. And their own beauty, their own magnificence is being pushed down, 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 down. If this keeps going, they kill themselves. They cause their own death. And Mother Nature just gives them a little push, just cuts them off, right? But there is still their memory, their awareness is still a part of the consciousness, it's still a part of the Akasha. It's all in the matrix, in the universe, and all of that shit. So that's one part of the ancestors, right? They're still with us. See? But sometimes you can just gotta cut them off, right? Cut your judgment about them off. Throw it. Integrate your ancestors, all of them. Integrate your self ancestors, your soul family and all that shit. Integrate your spiritual ancestors, integrate your mental ancestors, integrate your emotional ancestors, integrate your physical ancestors, that would be your biological parents, integrate your financial ancestors, all the history of money and how money has been going around in different cultures and all of that, and how it's been influenced by different religions and different cultures and all that shit. Integrate your own architect ancestors, their abilities inside of you, activate them. Integrate your own creation ancestors, like, you know, this tree is just a child of another tree that was here before it. In somewhere in this, all these trees that you see around, these trees are older than this body. Probably this looks like around probably 50 or 100 years old, those trees, especially those ones are quite big. So while I'm here in their presence, their wisdom is flowing through me, and that's like the creation, right? It's accessing the memory of the ancestors within you and integrating them. And then number 8, you gotta integrate your transcendence ancestors inside of you. Integrate number 9, the source ancestors, because we each come from a certain aspect, a certain quality, a certain identity of the source creator, right? From a certain side of the sphere and all of that. And then number 10, you gotta integrate your archangel ancestors, the elements of nature, right? Because different elements in the universe got created at different stages, and like oxygen and air and like fire and water and basic ones here on earth. And if you just look at the table of elements, more of them there. But those are just some basic ones here on earth. There are other elements, different elements in different galaxies that are not even known to humanity. They're not even able to comprehend them or understand them, because they're not so much available here, but they are in other galaxies. The same way as like we have the air and all of that, that we have the atmosphere here is unique to this planet. If an alien comes here in their usual body, they're gonna suffocate, they're gonna die. They're gonna need to have their own masks and all the suits to breathe. That is why most of them, they just incarnate in a human body like this one, to make it more resonatable for all of you motherfuckers. And then you have your guardian ancestors, pretty obvious, integrate them, like the animals and all of that, the dinosaurs. So I think one of the first incarnations this being has ever had on Earth has been as a dinosaur, apparently, as a dinosaur. So as a dinosaur, probably had multiple incarnations in the dinosaur era. Definitely been a tree before, definitely lived in water and fish, as fish, marine life. Definitely been a cheetah before, a lion as well, a panther, a fox, a crocodile, absolutely, and some birds as well. So I had many incarnations here, different stuff, which is pretty fascinating. So got a lot of things in common with this planet than I realized. And then you have your ascended master ancestors, like all the ascended masters before. Many of them really, just their wisdom is available to you. And then you have like Al-013 ancestors, like all the ascended masters who transcended infinitely and became thrice great Mahavatar ascended masters. Well, they are your ancestors, they're available to you, and their wisdom is available, and you can interact with them and all of that. And when you do that, this is really what happens. You look down and you see all this, the field, right, all on the surface and all of that. You see all these trees, all these different civilizations, all these different cultures around you, and you're sitting on top of your own tree, and you're just looking at all these magnificent trees around you, all these magnificent civilizations and being, all these universes walk around, and you realize that, look, we all share the same atmosphere, we all share the same air, we all share the same water, we all share the same sunlight, we all share the same nature, basically the same environment. It's just one ecosystem. If you try to hurt that tree, well, this tree will get hurt, that one will get hurt, the whole area will be suffering. But if you love that tree, this tree will feel the love, that one will feel the love, because underneath it, their roots are connected, they have the fungi, the mushroom network, the mycelia network, and all of that. It's all connected, right? This whole planet is so interwoven, so deeply connected, that it is actually scary. That you actually don't... your desire to harm yourself or other people, it stops. But sometimes you gotta discipline the body, right? You gotta make it fucking... You wanna do stuff and you just gotta discipline it and make it go through some pain, and so it can be awakened. So that's it. Just a bit of a story about the ancestors and all of that, and some deep stories about myself and all of that. So yeah, maybe I'll be joking about my biological parents in some future episodes and all of that, because this is like a comedy show, right? Spiritual comedy, but a fun, educative entertainment, right? Fun, educative entertainment. Those three words together. Yeah. So you know what this means, right? When you see this, you break your finger, you make sure if you haven't subscribed yet, you subscribe, please. Yeah, subscribe. If you don't, I'll be sad like this. Sad face on. If you don't subscribe, still cool. If you don't like the video, still cool, right? Honestly, it's no problem. But if you got something out of it, some story, something, if you enjoyed it, if you're entertained, if you got some education, some wisdom out of it, then just like it, right? It helps the channel grow, it helps other people to see it and all of that. And also in the comment below, write down like the top 5 to 13 things that you absolutely enjoyed. Like answer those questions about like what kind of relationship do you have with your ancestors, with the 13 different kinds, the main ones. What kind of a relationship would you like to have with them? You know, what kind of a impact, what kind of a service would you like to be for them, right? And ask your ancestors for guide, because they're always trying to help you and they're always here for each other, right? And also write down the top 5 to 13 things you would totally love for me to integrate and incorporate, and as feedback, as suggestions, because apparently Royal is always trying to improve and grow. So I'm gonna this is another thing, like when you have attachment to, when you're afraid to make a jump. Like back in the days, I would always be okay jumping off the trees and different places, but somehow recently I've had developed this unconscious fear of jumping, right, from higher heights. And you can see this tree is pretty high, right? So once in Stockport College, in high school, I had this maths class, and I was locked in the house, and I couldn't get out, right? So what I did was, from the second floor, I just took my bag off and dropped the bag first. It's like symbolically, like when you let go of something, or you feel something is valuable, you let it go, you drop it. And then that gives you an extra inspiration and a bit of motivation, a bit of push, because now you gotta jump down there and get your bag, right, and go to college. So I just jumped from the second floor, but before that I sent an email to my teacher and said, hey, I'm logged in and I'll get there soon if I can make this jump, right? So I'm gonna just drop this phone, hope it doesn't break or anything like that, and then I'm gonna attempt to make a jump from here, right? Just see what it's like. But before that, let's give the leg a bit of a shake, like a bit of a preparation, and I don't know, maybe get halfway down and all of that. But yeah, I'm gonna drop this phone, and that's the end of it, right? Yay! Yeah! Hello, motherfuckers! Oh, beloveds, there you go. Made a jump from all the way up there. Pretty different, right? Don't really see people going around getting on trees and making videos and then jumping and grazing his hand and then enjoying the pain and all of that. And
just being of service and entertaining people and being happy. Oh fuck, and enjoying life and all of that shit. So it's worth it at the end of the day, right? Because for Royal, this is a way of being. It has always been. It's a way of living. It's a way of enjoying the adventure of life. It's a way of riding the spaceships and flying, right? So this is like color, looks like pink, right? A bright pink color. It's like riding in these spaceships and these rockets and flying all the time, fly teleporting and enjoying this experience and sharing the experiences with all of you and those birds. Because to Royal, this thing is not work, none of it. Royal stopped working a long time ago, very, very long time ago. Yeah, I'm fully retired, don't have a job, never had a job in the UK, had a part-time job, working in the family business, like doing this kind of window stuff, like changing doors and stuff. Like I'm a very professional, good at that stuff, like. But that is like doing that inside of you, like changing the windows and doors and refurbishing your own temple inside. And you know what it means, like when you change the windows in the house, well, you gotta change your eye, the way you see reality. You gotta get those old perceptions, those old paradigms out, those old thinking and those old way of looking at your ancestors and the whole universe. Get it out. You gotta take the lens of your ancestors off your eye, so you can see reality with the current, with the updated version, right? But it's like when you take it out, you see reality with like a completely different light. But that does not mean that the old paradigm of the ancestors were wrong or useless, no. Because that material then gets recycled and it gets into new materials. They make new windows, new doors and all of that, and things like that, and they make new spaceships and rockets, and the old paradigm basically becomes fuel for the new one. You gotta change your nose, the way you smell things, smell different things, different colors, different food and all of that, so you can get new information. You gotta change your skin, right? When they, like in the inside, when they take the wallpaper and all of that out and paint it again, well, girls are mostly getting suntan and all of that. Well, the sun out there in front of you is the best tan you can get. You can tan yourself like that, and it changes your skin and inside and outside. Gotta look at that dog shooting right there. Hey, are you a wolf? Oh my god, it has two different color eyes. Oh my god, did you guys see that? Two different colors. One is brown, one is it blue or something? Pretty beautiful, right? How does looks like a dog. How does it have two different colored eyes? Pretty magnificent. So the example of eye, right? When you change your eye thing, it's like you take one of them out and you throw it out. Basically taking out the ancestor paradigm, install a new window, but on one of them, as an experiment, keep one of the eye the same, like in a sense, like allow the ancestors to show you how they saw reality. And the best way to do that is through plant medicine, like mushrooms and ayahuasca, and just eating grass in general, right? Eating plants in general, all of them. If you're not comfortable with mushrooms and magic mushroom and things like that, you don't have to take them. But the other day I just was walking in town and I just picked up some mushrooms. It's in the other video as well. And I just ate some, and then yesterday I was in the park and I just had this little feeling to go to see these little trees, right? And I went there and I saw these little mushrooms in there, and I just picked them and ate them. And people have this fear of thinking, they say, oh, the mushrooms, they can kill you and all of that, they can hurt you. They can if you think like that. But to this guy can eat poison and it calls it honey. Because when you change your perception of poison and realize that it is all source energy, source consciousness and all of that, then and you love it, it has no choice, it cannot hurt you. Even it has the chemicals, the elements inside it that can cause you to die, but they cannot. This kind of becomes deactivated, they become transmuted, they become transcended. Okay, this is not an advertisement for you to go take mushrooms or or suck them. No, not at all. This is an adult entertainment, right? You make your own decision. So this guy is not liable for any of that shit. Don't complain and say he didn't warn us. And then you change your shoes, right? You change the shoes that you're wearing. Also physically, get new shoes, new boots. Change your shoe style and all of that. Also change your style and things like that. Because that changes your energy. It changes how you see yourself. It changes how you see the ancestors. It changes how you see reality as a whole. It changes everything. It's like getting a new car, a new vehicle, but you do that in your whole body, on the inside, on the outside. The thing is, like, if you do it on the outside, it affects what happens inside of you. But if you do it on the inside, it triggers you to change your style, to do all of that thing. But you can do it both ways, right? It's really cool. It's really cool. Gul basically means flower. Cool, gul, same thing. Yeah, change change your ear. You know, hear different frequencies, different vibrations, the sounds of the nature. Let the wind give you showers and like clean off your body and cleanse it and all of that. What else? Also, change your frequency, change your vibration, change your energy, change your wisdom, change your language, change your interpretation of reality. Because when you change all of that, then you're doing it from a state of playfulness. That's how you transcend. The more you're playing, the more you will transcend. That's all this guy does every single day, just playing. Going around, causing trouble there, being of service there, balancing it with that one, fucking with that girl's emotions, and then loving that one, and then saying bye to that one, and then she gets upset, and then that one puts flowers in front of him and roses and say, hey, I want this one, but then their parents is asking, like, who is this guy, what does he do? Just causing trouble all the time, right? Being a sacred, divine troublemaker. Peace. Oh, funny shit. What else? Yeah, that's really good. Honestly, thank you for being Tashakkur. Thank you, Arigato, for being here and watching this stuff, really, and enjoying it and experimenting with them and orchestrating with them and integrating the wisdom in your life and all of that. So now I'm just gonna go see the biological family, and if they're home, I'm just gonna play some video game, and that is gonna be shared on my other channel, the Self-Transcendence Show with Royal Anwar. I'm gonna be talking about similar things, but while I'm playing video games. So if you're a gamer, if you have your children that play video games, share that channel with them. If they're over 16, 17, 18, right? If they're less than that, don't share it with them, because I talk about a lot of stuff there. I swear and use the fuck word and all of that stuff, and this channel is also like for adult entertainment. So yeah, time for you motherfuckers to get out there and play and have fun. Oh.